Once the name behind tractors, trucks, and even SUVs, International Harvester built machines that powered American farms and freight.
We've got something new for you with IH style and truck know-how. The medium duty, yes, it's true. It's rolling off the lines right now.
But behind the red paint and roaring engines was a company that grew too big, too fast, and ultimately collapsed under its own weight. This is the story of how IH rose to dominate American industry, and why it all came crashing down. In 1902, 5 companies led by McCormick and Deering merged to form International Harvester, backed by the financial muscle of J.P. Morgan. This wasn't just another corporate consolidation, it was the creation of an industrial giant that would reshape American agriculture and transportation for the next 8 decades. The merger brought together the McCormick Harvesting Machine Company and Deering Harvester Company, 2 fierce rivals who had been battling for dominance in the agricultural equipment market. McCormick brought revolutionary reaper technology that had mechanized grain harvesting, while Deering contributed manufacturing expertise and distribution networks that spanned the globe. The timing couldn't have been better. American agriculture was undergoing massive transformation as the frontier closed and farming became more mechanized. Horse-drawn equipment was giving way to steam-powered machines, and farmers needed reliable, powerful equipment that could handle the demands of large-scale agriculture. International Harvester quickly became a titan in agricultural equipment, but their ambitions extended far beyond farming. The company's engineers understood that the same principles that made great farm equipment, durability, reliability, and raw power, could be applied to other industries that needed rugged machinery. Their tractors, especially the Farmall series launched in 1924, were revolutionary. The Farmall wasn't just another tractor. It was a complete farming system that could handle cultivation, planting, and harvesting with interchangeable implements. The distinctive red paint became synonymous with American agriculture, and the Farmall's design influenced tractor development for decades. The Farmall series was rugged, simple, and mass-produced for the American heartland. These tractors featured tricycle front ends that allowed close cultivation of row crops, something that previous tractors couldn't accomplish effectively. The design was so successful that it established the template for row crop tractors that competitors would follow for generations. But International Harvester's vision extended beyond agriculture. The company recognized that America's growing industrial economy needed trucks, construction equipment, and engines that could handle the demanding work of building a modern nation. This diversification would become both IH's greatest strength and its ultimate downfall. By the 1930s, International Harvester had expanded into truck manufacturing and diesel engine design, establishing themselves as masters of heavy-duty power. Their inline-6 diesels became legendary for their ability to power everything from fire trucks to long-haul rigs, earning a reputation for durability that few manufacturers could match. The company's engine division developed power plants that were built like industrial machinery, emphasizing durability and serviceability. IH engines featured robust cast iron blocks, forged steel crankshafts, and cooling systems designed for continuous operation under maximum load. This philosophy created an impressive balance of power, efficiency, and longevity, making them perfect for heavy-duty applications. International's truck division produced vehicles that shared this philosophy of overbuilt durability. The Metro van became a fixture in urban delivery fleets, while the Lodestar series dominated medium-duty applications from construction to municipal services. The Transtar series established IH as a serious player in long-haul trucking, competing directly with established manufacturers like Mack and White. The engines that powered these trucks were equally impressive. IH's diesel engines, such as the legendary DT466, were known for their rugged construction and ability to produce substantial torque at low RPM, making them ideal for heavy-duty applications. Many of the company's diesel engines featured wet sleeve designs that made rebuilds economical and straightforward, allowing operators to keep trucks running for decades with proper maintenance. Fire departments across America embraced International Harvester trucks, and engines for their reliability and power. IH fire trucks became legendary for their ability to start instantly and run flawlessly under emergency conditions, often operating for hours at maximum load while powering pumps and aerial equipment. The construction industry also discovered the advantages of this kind of power. Construction equipment powered by international engines could handle the demanding conditions of job sites where failure meant costly delays. The engine's tolerance for dust, heat, and heavy loads made them popular choices for contractors who needed equipment that would keep working regardless of conditions. International's engineering philosophy emphasized serviceability and longevity over sophistication. Their engines used mechanical fuel injection systems that could be serviced with basic tools, and the robust construction meant that major components rarely failed catastrophically. This approach created loyal customers who appreciated equipment that could be maintained by their own mechanics. The 1950s and 60s represented the peak of International Harvester's dominance across multiple industries. In agriculture, IH controlled the market with the Farmall and 66 series tractors that set the standard for power, reliability, and versatility.
If you're looking for exceptional performance and reliability, safety, comfort, and convenience, you're looking at it all right here, right now.
These tractors weren't just machines. They were symbols of American agricultural prosperity. The Farmall series had evolved into a complete family of tractors ranging from compact models for small farms to massive machines capable of handling the largest agricultural operations. The distinctive red paint and IH logo became as recognizable as any brand in America, representing quality and dependability that farmers could trust with their livelihoods. International expanded into construction equipment during this period, producing crawlers, loaders, and other heavy machinery that competed with established manufacturers like Caterpillar. The company's construction equipment shared the same philosophy as their agricultural machines, built tough enough to handle the most demanding applications while remaining serviceable in the field. But perhaps IH's most prescient move was launching the Scout SUV in 1961, decades ahead of the SUV boom that would transform the automotive industry.
It's got the V8 engine, and you'll climb just about anything you aim her at. International Harvester makes those Scouts rugged as a bear.
The Scout was a rugged utilitarian vehicle designed for farmers, ranchers, and outdoor enthusiasts who needed something more capable than a car but more comfortable than a truck. The Scout featured four-wheel drive, high ground clearance, and the kind of durability that IH had built into their agricultural and commercial vehicles. Available as both a pickup and a wagon, the Scout could handle everything from farm work to family transportation, establishing a market segment that wouldn't be fully exploited by other manufacturers for another 2 decades. International's truck division was also hitting its stride during this period. The company's medium and heavy-duty trucks were gaining market share through superior durability and lower operating costs. IH trucks were particularly popular with fleet operators who valued long-term reliability over initial purchase price. The brand had become synonymous with rural toughness and American innovation. International Harvester represented the industrial might that had built America, companies that created products designed to last generations rather than be replaced every few years. During these golden years, International Harvester seemed unstoppable. The company dominated agriculture, competed effectively in construction and trucking, and had even created an entirely new vehicle category with the Scout. The diversification that had been a strategic advantage was generating profits across multiple industries. By the late 1970s, the warning signs were becoming impossible to ignore. International Harvester was overextended across too many product lines, underinvested in innovation, and struggling with rising labor costs that were making their products less competitive. The company that had once seemed invincible was beginning to show serious structural weaknesses. The diversification that had been IH's strength was becoming a liability. Managing agricultural equipment, trucks, construction machinery, and consumer vehicles required different expertise, different supply chains, and different marketing approaches. The company was trying to be everything to everyone, and the strain was beginning to show. Labor relations had become increasingly contentious as the company struggled to control costs while maintaining the generous wage and benefit packages that had been negotiated during more prosperous times. The workforce that had once been a source of pride was becoming a financial burden that made IH products more expensive than competitors' offerings. Innovation had slowed down as the company focused on maintaining existing product lines rather than developing new technologies. While competitors were investing in advanced hydraulics, electronic controls, and more efficient engines, International was still relying on designs that were decades old. The engineering excellence that had built the company's reputation was stagnating. The agricultural market was also changing in ways that challenged IH's traditional approach. Farmers were becoming more sophisticated buyers who demanded fuel efficiency, operator comfort, and advanced features rather than just raw durability. The simple, rugged machines that had made IH famous were beginning to seem outdated compared to more refined competitors. International's truck division faced similar challenges as the industry evolved toward more efficient, comfortable vehicles. The overbuilt approach that had worked when fuel was cheap and driver comfort was secondary became a disadvantage as operating costs and driver retention became critical factors. The Scout, despite its innovative concept, was struggling against better-funded competitors who could invest more heavily in refinement and marketing. While IH had created the SUV category, manufacturers like Ford and Chevrolet were beginning to offer more sophisticated alternatives that appeal to a broader market. A bitter strike in 1979 crippled production and damaged relationships with dealers and customers who couldn't get the parts and service they needed. The 6-month work stoppage cost the company millions in lost sales and gave competitors opportunities to capture market share that IH would never recover. When competitors innovated with new technologies and more efficient manufacturing processes, International stalled. The company's decentralized structure made it difficult to coordinate development efforts across different divisions, and the financial pressures made it impossible to invest adequately in research and development. The end came swiftly and brutally. In 1985, International Harvester sold its beloved agricultural division to Case, abandoning the market that had been the foundation of the company's success. The name International Harvester was retired in 1986, and what remained became Navistar International, focused solely on commercial trucks and engines. The sale of the agricultural division was devastating for employees, dealers, and customers who had been loyal to the IH brand for generations.
International Harvester says it has lost so much money in its agricultural equipment division, it must close the Memphis plant.
After the sale, most international dealers transitioned to the new Case IH brand, continuing support and parts for former IH equipment. But many farmers saw the end of the IH name as the end of an era. The decision to exit agriculture wasn't made lightly, but the company had no choice. The agricultural division was losing money, and the capital required to make it competitive again simply wasn't available. The diversification that had once been a strength had become impossible to sustain, as each division required massive investments to remain competitive. What remained as Navistar was a shadow of the former International Harvester empire. The company focused on commercial trucks and engines, markets where they still had competitive products and established customer relationships. However, even this reduced scope would prove challenging to manage profitably. Navistar's attempt to meet emission standards with an exhaust gas recirculation only (EGR) strategy proved catastrophic. While competitors adopted selective catalytic reduction systems using diesel exhaust fluid, Navistar chose to avoid SCR and DEF, an approach that led to severe reliability problems, expensive recalls, and the loss of customer trust. The EGR-only approach backfired spectacularly, resulting in engine reliability issues that fatally eroded customer trust. Fleet operators who had been loyal to International for decades began switching to competitors as Navistar engines suffered from frequent failures and expensive repairs. The company's reputation for reliability, built over 8 decades, was destroyed in just a few years. The MaxxForce engines that were supposed to demonstrate Navistar's engineering prowess instead became symbols of the company's decline. These engines suffered from carbon buildup, EGR cooler failures and other problems that made them unsuitable for commercial use. Major truck manufacturers began offering alternative engines, and customers fled to competitors. By 2012, Navistar was forced to abandon the EGR-only strategy and begin installing SCR systems on their engines. The company paid hundreds of millions in settlements and lost significant market share to competitors whose SCR-equipped engines proved far more reliable. The gamble had failed completely. Over time, Navistar became a shadow of International Harvester's former dominance. The company that had once built machines for farms, construction sites, and highways was reduced to a struggling truck manufacturer fighting for survival in an increasingly competitive market. Though International Harvester is gone, its machines are still working and loved. Farmers restore old Farmalls with the same devotion that car enthusiasts show for classic automobiles. The Scout and its cult following has grown as collectors recognize its historical significance as one of America's first modern SUVs. Restoration specialists have developed expertise in rebuilding these vehicles, and parts suppliers cater to enthusiasts who want to keep their Scouts running. The vehicle that was ahead of its time has found its audience decades later. The restoration community has embraced International Harvester equipment with enthusiasm that borders on obsession. Antique tractor shows across the country feature immaculately restored Farmalls, their distinctive red paint gleaming and their mechanical systems rebuilt to original specifications. These events celebrate not just the machines, but the era they represent. Truckers still tell stories about International Harvester diesels that accumulated millions of miles with nothing more than routine maintenance. The engines that powered International's commercial vehicles earned reputations for longevity that modern power plants struggle to match. Many of these engines are still running today, testament to the engineering excellence that once defined the company. Even in decline, International Harvester left behind a legacy of engineering that won't be forgotten. The company's approach to building machines, emphasizing durability, serviceability, and raw capability over sophistication, influenced an entire generation of equipment manufacturers who learned from both International's successes and failures. The red paint and IH logo still evoke memories of an era when American manufacturing meant building products that would last. While the company couldn't adapt to changing market conditions, the machines they built continue to work decades after their manufacture, proving that the engineering philosophy was sound even if the business strategy wasn't. Farmers who grew up with International equipment often speak of it with reverence, remembering tractors that started reliably every morning and worked without complaint through the most demanding conditions. The company's influence extends beyond the machines themselves to the culture of American agriculture and industry. International Harvester represented an approach to manufacturing that prioritized substance over style, durability over disposability, and function over fashion. While this philosophy ultimately couldn't compete in modern markets, it created products that have outlasted the company that built them. Did you grow up around International Harvester equipment, work on Farmalls, or drive a Scout? Share your memories of the machines that built America, and tell us what you think went wrong with the company that made them.